Good morning, everyone. I am Brenda Shelton Dunstan. I am on the steering committee, and I'm the executive director of the Black Women's Health Alliance in Philadelphia. We're now going to hear from Bill Vaughan, who has worked for various members of the House of Representatives Ways and Means Committee and retired in 2001 as Health Committee Staff Director for the Minority. Between 2003 and May 2005, he was Director of Government Relations for Families USA, a national health advocacy organization. Bill?
I think no slides. No. Hi, thanks for having me here today. I'm also on the Board of Directors National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare, which is why I'm on cue. We think one of the ways to save Medicare without shifting all the costs to people is quit doing stupid stuff. And so that's my reason for being here. And to the topic at hand, you win some, you lose some. I've been on panels where I was like the parsley on a platter of fish decoration, and they could check off that, you know, they had a consumer rep. And I've been on panels where I liked it and a fellow patient rep hated it, and vice versa. So there's some Rorschach testing here, or Rashomon-ing, but clearly some panels I've not had a whiff of influence on. It may be because I was saying something stupid. I used to work with Dr. Santa at Consumers Union. He knows I can say pretty stupid things. And it may be that, you know, I didn't go through those extra 7+ years of medical training. Maybe I was wrong. And that's maybe why they didn't listen to me. It may also be that some doctors are awful hard to talk to. To paraphrase that joke about Boston Brahmin families, some doctors talk only to surgeons, some surgeons talk only to God, and God help the patient rep that opens his mouth. And I've been on those kind of panels. I kind of sucked up my anger by thinking, well, this is part of a large change in American health policy. I mean, just think how fast things are changing. 80, 90 years ago, the AMA basically had guidance out there to doctors that we were children. We were to be seen but not heard or consulted. So we've made a lot of progress, and not every panel that you're on is a home run or even a base hit. But fortunately, I think most of the panels I've been on, there's had some impact. One of the areas where we can be particularly helpful is spending the time to look at the social network, Facebook, YouTube, the hundreds, thousands of patients who are talking there and reporting on things of interest to them that your average doctor doesn't sit around reading those websites, I don't think. And as the slides indicated, sometimes what the patients are talking about is quite different than what the doctors were thinking the problem was. Other big area to help is the cost. I've been on panels where they've spent days talking about whether drug A was better than drug B, but if drug A was 10 times more expensive, and with the number of uninsured or poor people in our society, which is likely to increase in the near future, somebody ought to talk about whether somebody can even take drug A, and how real is it to recommend drug A. So to bring some financial reality to this picture is a place we can contribute. Another area is in sexuality and psychology. These doctors are great on anatomy and physiology, but they seem to have kind of a black hole when you try to talk about some of the psychological issues that we can bring. I was on a Bell's palsy panel. This is where you can literally wake up in the morning and half your face has drooped and can become Oh, in my case, it'd probably be an improvement. But you can become quite ugly, and certainly scared to hell. If I had a stroke, all this scared feeling. And fortunately, it's usually a very short duration, sometimes half a year, a few times can be lifetime. You go on the website and you look, and people are just devastated psychologically and sexually. Nobody's going to go to the prom with me looking like that. There was one guy on the website that said that he had not been out of his house in 20 years. He was so ashamed of his Phantom of the Opera face. Now, that maybe he was exaggerating, but just to say that, what a psychological burden this guy was carrying. This was news to the doctors. And the patient groups were able to add a really good discussion on check that your patient isn't thinking about committing suicide. There was a lot of suicidality comments on the websites. So there's a type of area that you can make a difference in, and I think we have. But maybe there's some larger issues as to whether we can make a difference. How can we make guidelines make more of a difference? I was on a panel where there was a subspecialty, and all the other doctors said, oh, you guys have no evidence, and there's no data, and what you do is dangerous, and quit doing it. And that was the recommendation. Don't do this subspecialty item. And I caught the subspecialists around the coffee pot, and there's, I still think it works, and I'm going to do it. Well, if evidence-based doctors who come to an evidence-based meeting and everybody else says there's no evidence, and they're still going to do it, how and why we as patients agree with some of this or go along with it or support it? I mean, we need to address some larger issues of guideline compliance. And last, I just would want to say, to me, it feels like we're in one of those cycles in American history of anti-intellectualism. And I feel like in terms of science and healthcare, I'm on the Titanic, and I don't want to spend my life arranging deck chairs. I hope during lunch and in breaks we can talk a little bit about how we can, as a group, be more aggressive in fighting this tsunami of darkness that we're facing. Thank you very much.